What's up, anime fans? James Downton here, and boy oh boy, was this a brilliant episode. I guess you could say this episode was over 9,000! You get the reference? Anyway, in all seriousness, this was a brilliant episode. A great way to do two amazing fights within the series of RWBY. So if you want to know more, sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy. Let's get started with this review, shall we? So we start off the episode with possibly one of the best battles we've had throughout the RWBY series in general. Personally speaking, of course. Now, the reasons as to why I say this is because this fight between RWBY's group and the lady in the giant robot outfit, suit, mecha, whatever you want to call her, had pretty much everything going for it. It had brilliant choreography that helped show off the characters and their semblances. So every character had a moment and had a role within this fight, which is something that I can really appreciate. We also have a brand new song being introduced to us. We do not know the name of the song yet, however, once I know, I'll write it in the comment section of this video. And the sound effects, again, were really nice to listen to. It all flowed together nicely. Another amazing thing about this fight is quite a lot of fights have either a really serious tone or a really sort of comedic tone, and it's hard to get that sort of balance between the two, and this fight had that. It was a serious battle because their lives were on the line. Like, this woman literally wanted to kill them, and they were still having fun doing so, especially RWBY herself. So it was just that little bit of comedy that just helped the fight sort of just enjoyable, made it a lot more enjoyable. So this fight ends on a cliffhanger. Surprise, surprise. There's still quite a few episodes left, so they're going to drag it out a little bit. That's to be expected. Now the second half of the episode focuses more on Blake and Adam, and Yang as well. But we start off by seeing a continuation of Blake versus Adam. Adam clearly has the upper hand, while Blake basically runs away and lures Adam to a more open area, which, due to Blake's battle style, I kind of thought would work against her. But anyway, we'll get to that later. Now, the good thing about this fight is there's a bit of dialogue that you can either hit or you can either miss when watching this. You can either get lost in it because it's such a nice sort of fight scene and it flows really well. However, an important bit of information that is routed in this from Adam is that he was being hurt as a Farness before he even met Blake anyway. But I'll come back to that point a bit later on in the video. So, one really nice thing that happened in this episode during this fight was Yang's appearance. And the way it happened was just, it was funny and awesome, and almost Yang-like as well. Basically, to sum it up, she basically jumps off a cliff while on her bike. She kicks the bike towards Adam and knocks him down with her bike. So she not really runs him over, but just crashes into him. And then does like a superhero landing herself to land on her feet to look cool. And I don't think I'm the only one who shouted this when I watched it for the first time, but I actually shouted, "She hit them with the bike." That's crazy. But yeah, that was a good scene. And then basically we have Blake sort of telling Yang to switch in. So it's Yang versus Adam now. And then the episode ends with both battles being on a cliffhanger. So there's a few talking points to this sort of episode that I just want to kind of bring up. Number one, Yang's fighting style. It might just be me and a personal sort of take I saw on this battle, but Yanks' fighting style seems to be like that of Bakugo from My Hero Academia, and there are quite a few similarities between the two characters. Both are quite hot-headed and tend to rush in. Yang not so much now, but in seasons like 1, 2, 3, well yeah, those 3, she was quite hot-headed and she wanted to run in and charge in and break stuff. There's even that gag in RWBY where she just like, let's punch it. And Bakugo's just like destruction and chaotic sort of ideals in that sense. They both have sort of like rocket-based powers. So Yang obviously shooting her knuckle dusters with rockets, and the way she sort of jumps forward and propels herself forward with the explosions. It just reminds me of that show, My Hero Academia, and the character of Bakugo. Whether or not that was intentional, who knows? Now, the second thing I want to mention is, in my last review, which is probably on my other channel, the Downton Index, which if you want a link, then let me know in the comments below and I shall give you a link to that one. I mentioned the fact that I didn't think Yang would be able to fight Adam, simply because of her trauma. And this episode handled that really well. She was able to fight, yes. However, you could still see a clear struggle between Yang's emotions and her actions. Especially when she tells Adam to just run off and, you know, they'll let him off the hook. You see the camera zoom into Yang's arm and it's still shaking a little bit. So that fear is still there. However, good old Blake basically comes along and reassures her that they're protecting each other. So they're calling out to the Bumblebee shippers. And this next point is a bit of a spoiler, so I'll leave a sort of a time sort of stamp up on the screen, and if you want to jump straight to my overall opinion of the episode and my sort of ratings, then now's your chance to do so. 1, 2, 3. Right, so if you're still on this section, then the reveal of Adam and what's behind his mask. Now, like I said earlier in this review, Adam stated he's been hurt by people way before he knew Blake. And this scar on his face that he's been hiding is basically evidence of that. Now, if you look closely, you can make out 3 different letters. One's S, one's D, and one's C, which last time I checked, it represented Schnee Dust Company. So there's a possible connection between Adam and the Schnee Company. Now, I've got 2 ideas about that. Idea number 1, he used to work for them as a slave, because we know that they employed foreigners to work as slaves. And he tried to rebel, he tried to escape, which led to him being branded across the face with those letters. And my other sort of idea is that maybe he was sold to them. We don't know what Adam's true backstory is, but maybe he was sold to the Schnee Company and they branded him, much like farmers would brand cows or sheep, and basically that's how he got that scar. It's just an idea. If you have any ideas of your own, let me know down in the comments below. Okay, so my overall thoughts and ratings for this episode. The animation. The animation, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. There was no sort of breathtaking animated scenes in this episode. However, it was top quality animation throughout the episode, while it was still quite crazy, hectic, and quite a lot was going on. You had lots of fast moving objects, and you've got sort of everything jumping from side to side. And the animation quality for me did not drop at all. I did not see any breaks or any droppage in animated quality. So I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 for this episode. Music and sound effects, I'm going to give it an 8. They gave us a new song that I'm interested and intrigued to hear more of. The sound effects were all on point and matched well for every sort of thing they were used for. Now, the plot, it wasn't really a plot-heavy episode. It was more of a fighting episode. So, it's going to be a bit tricky to kind of give a rating of. However, what this episode did do, and it is slightly plot relevant, is it basically showed us how every character from the group has been able to develop and grow throughout the whole series of RWBY. It also gave us a bit more of an insight to Adam's character, which you can classify as plot, as well as the fact that it just shows us how deranged this woman from the Elysian military as she is. So I'm going to give it a bit of a pass and give it a bit of a slight push for this episode by giving it an 8 out of 10. Just simply because of the way the episode was structured. And that about does it for this review. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, smash that like button. And why not consider subscribing and joining the Banana May squad today. But other than that, I hope you will enjoy the rest of your day. My name is James Townsend, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.